Hello and welcome to an unplanned video of the evolution of my workshop. It all started out in an old outbuilding at our homestead. So I started out by laying down some chalk lines using the help of my laser and some risers to level out the floor. My initial intention was to install cabinet-like counter. I went to my local carpentry and got some leftover materials to put everything together. At the same time, I wanted to keep costs down, and that is always one of my main objectives and priorities. I managed to also get some old cabinets that, mixed up with the rest of the materials I got previously, ended up to have a good result. For the main countertop, I used some donated marine plywood. It's proven to be quite resistant. After a couple of weeks into the build, I really liked where things were going. Since I had the interior sorted out, I turned my attention to the windows and doors. I had to demolish part of the wall so I can fit some donated windows I got from a local builder. Luckily, one of the windows was quite big. Light is much appreciated in any workshop. In these clips you can see my DIY table saw. I used an old skill saw mounted underneath. It's not perfect, but it served me well. To turn it on, I used one of these normal household power switches. Works pretty good. Here you can see the final layout of the right side of my work area. It has a lot of storage, and at this point I had already managed to get some sorting boxes made for some of the screws I use the most. The boxes can be removed and placed near the project I'm working on. Then I turned my attention to the door. I wanted it to be wide, because in the future I plan on building a mobile workbench that I want to be able to bring outside on those nice sunny days. For the door, I used metal-based materials. The frame was put together using 40mm square stock and welded everything using my MIG welder. To protect it from corrosion, I gave it a couple of coats of paint. Here you can see the foam I used to close off some of the gaps I had in between the log beam and the window. On the floor, I test fitted the door frame to match everything together before welding. I built this center column around the existing pillar so I could set up my drill on one side and the grinding machine on the other. That panel over there will be used to hang some small tools. And as I mentioned before, I made these small boxes to accommodate the screws I use the most. They're very practical because they can be moved around. Basically, all the cabinets are ready, but mostly empty. I'll be filling them as I go. I got these small cabinets with lots of storage space for little boxes and trinkets. I even got the chance to use some soft closing hinges I had laying around. For some reason, watching these close is very amusing and satisfying. With all the space I now have available, I'll have to sort out what I have and plan for future tools. I put everything together to best use the materials I was given. I didn't have a plan, and everything I built was decided according to what I had in hand at the time. This is basically all recycled materials the carpentry supplied. For For the countertop, this was also donated marine plywood. It's 20 millimeters thick, and for the countertop, it's perfect. I even have this old broken down refrigerator that I've been using as a tool cabinet. In the future, I plan to insulate the ceiling with styrofoam or roofmate so that it's cozier. So the right side of the workshop is pretty much done, and in the future I'll be concentrating more on the left side. This old workbench is now finished, and it's also where I mounted my vise. As you can see, the left side of the workshop still needs a lot of improvement, and I still have a lot of work to get done. But it's a work in progress, and I'll be upgrading as I use it. One of my friends kindly donated this grinding machine, which I was happy to mount on the opposite side of the drill press. And here it is after a couple of weeks working on my metric workshop. It's basically a usable workshop. Lots of space for improvement, but we'll see where it goes from here. So I wound up returning to my local carpentry, and they were able to donate a couple of cabinet doors, which I decided to put together with some leftover materials and built a storage area to put on top of my old workbench. For safety purposes, I decided to build some window grills so that it would protect the workshop. Once that was done, I turned my attention to the outside. Initially, I just had dirt in front of the door, and that was inconvenient, so the best solution was to lay down some concrete and turn it into a clean and workable surface area. I'm very happy with the outcome so far. I have a lot of ideas on how to make it even better, but that will be content for future videos. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for sticking around.